Thank you so much, Mac, for being first. Thank you. Very much appreciated. You get the first kiss of the night. Hi Billy. Hi, hello. How's it going? Today we're doing ASMR. Still reading the book because the book, like it's the only book in existence. Yeah. Still reading The Hunger Games because I wanted to read it and I had some extra time, so I was like, I might as well do a stream and then we can read it together. Because if the minute I stop reading this on stream is the minute that I leave you all behind. So, but yeah. Hope everybody's having a good and relaxing night, day, wherever you are. Hi Mac, hi, hello. How's it going? Hi Shlord, hi, hello. How's it going? I'm EP, I'm very EP, I'm sleepy, but I think that's a good vibe to get into. We're actually like halfway done with the book. I just looked at it right now. We're literally like a little bit more than halfway down the entire book, so we might just finish it today. Just kidding. We might get like halfway and then finish it next time and start the next book probably. But yeah, I wanted to read more Hunger Games. That's what we're gonna do today. For some reason I feel like that rain is really loud. But it sounds so loud to me, so I'm gonna turn it down in my ears. Okay. I have no pretense. I just honestly want to start reading. I've been thinking about this book for a fucking minute now. I was having a conversation. I've been literally talking to every single person I've been hanging out with about this book just because I was like, wow, I forgot how fucking good The Hunger Games was, and just recommending it all over again to everybody. So very excited about that. Also, thanks Billy. I'm doing fine. It's been like just a long day. It's been a long day for me, but we're gonna start by just getting into the rest of this book. When we last left, it was chapter 14, and in it, Katniss, oh right, yeah, Katniss, was high off her fucking gourd, high out of her gourd because she got stung by the tracker jackers, and she had escaped Cato, who was slashing his way and trying to murder her and beat up. I'm actually gonna read a little bit of page 194, which is the last part of chapter 14, just so I can get myself back into it. I'll actually just read the whole page because it's a good last page. Alright. Behind him, Cato slashes his way through the brush. He's sparkling wet too and badly stung under one eye. I catch a gleam of sunlight on his sword and do as Peeta says, holding tightly to my bow and arrows, banging into trees that appear out of nowhere, tripping and falling as I try to keep my balance. Back past my pool and into unfamiliar woods, the world begins to bend in alarming ways. A butterfly balloons to the size of a house, then shatters into a million stars. Trees transform to blood and splash down over my boots. Ants begin to crawl out of the blisters on my hands, and I can't shake them free. They're climbing up my arms and neck. Someone's screaming, a long, high-pitched scream that never breaks for breath. I have a vague idea it might be me. I trip and fall into bubbles that hum like the tracker nest. Tucking my knees up to my chin, I wait for death. Sick and disoriented, I'm able to form only one thought. Peter Malark just saved my life. Then the ants pour into my eyes and I black out. It's a good finisher. It's a really good finisher. Alright. Hi memes, I-o. Hi. Alright. Chapter 15. I enter a nightmare from which I wake repeatedly, only to find a greater terror awaiting me. All the things I dread most, all the things I dread for others manifest in such vivid detail, I can't help but believe they're real. Each time I wake, I think, at last, this is over. But it isn't. It's only at the beginning of a new chapter of torture. How many ways do I watch Prim die, relive my father's last moments, feel my own body ripped apart? This is the nature of the tracker venom, so carefully created to target the place where fear lives in your brain. When I finally do come to my senses, I lie still, waiting for the next onslaught of imagery, but eventually I accept that the poison must have finally worked its way out of my system, leaving my body racked and feeble. I'm still lying on my side, locked in the fetal position. I lift a hand to my eyes to find them sound, untouched by ants that never existed. Simply stretching out my limbs requires an enormous effort. So many parts of me hurt, it doesn't seem worthwhile taking inventory of them. Very slowly, I manage to sit up. I'm in a shallow hole, not filled with humming orange bubbles of my hallucination, but with old, dead leaves. My clothing's damp, but I don't know whether pond water, dew, rain, or sweat is the cause. For a long time, all I can do is take tiny sips from my bottle and watch a beetle crawl up the inside of a honeysuckle bush. How long have I been out? It was the morning when I lost reason. Now it's afternoon, but the stiffness in my joints suggests more than a day has passed, even two possibly. If so, I'll have no way of knowing which tributes survived that tracker attack. Not Glimmer or the girl from District 4, but there was the boy from District 1, both tributes from District 2, and PETA. Did they die from the stings? Certainly, if they lived, their last days must have been as horrid as my own. And what about Rue? She's so small, it wouldn't take much venom to do her in. But then again, the trackers wouldn't have had to catch her, and she had a good head start. A foul, rotten taste pervades my mouth, and the water has little effect on it. I drag myself over to the honeysuckle bush and pluck a flower. I gently pull the stamen through the bottom and set the drop of nectar on my tongue. The sweetness spreads through my mouth, down my throat, warming my veins with memories of summer and my home woods and Gail's presence behind me. For some reason, our discussion from last morning comes back to me. We could do it, you know. What? Leave the district, was the tracker jacker venom that had caused me to imagine. But if he did, and my instincts tell me he did, what for? Is he simply working the lover boy angle he initiated at the interview? Or was he actually trying to protect me? And if he was, what was he doing with those careers in the first place? None of it makes sense. I wonder what Gail made of the incident for a moment, and then I pushed the whole thing out of my mind because for some reason, Gail and PETA do not coexist well in my thoughts. So I focus on the one really good thing that's happened since I landed in the arena. I have bow and arrows, a full dozen arrows if you count the one I retrieved in the tree. They bear no trace of the noxious green slime that came from Glimmer's body, which leads me to believe that might not have been wholly real, and they have a fair amount of dried blood on them. I can clean them later, but I do take a moment to shoot a few into a nearby tree. They're more like the weapons in the training center than my ones at home, but who cares? That I can work with. The weapons give me an entirely new perspective on the games. I know I have tough opponents left to face, but I am no longer merely prey that runs and hides or takes desperate measures. If Kato broke through the trees right now, I wouldn't flee. I'd shoot. I find I'm actually anticipating the moment with pleasure. But first, I have to get some strength back in my body. I'm dehydrated again, and my water supply is dangerously low. The little padding I was able to put on by gorging myself during prep time in the capital is gone, plus several more pounds as well. My hip bones and ribs are more prominent than I remember them being since those awful months after my father's death. And then there are my wounds to contend with, burns, cuts, and bruises from smashing into the trees, and 3 tracker jacker stings, which are as sore and swollen as ever. I treat my burns with the ointment and try dabbing a bit on my stings as well, but it has no effect on them. My mother knew a treatment for them, some type of leaf that could draw out the poison, but she seldom had the cause to use it, and I don't even remember its name, let alone its appearance. Water first, I think. You can hunt along the way now. It's easy to see the direction I came from by the path of destruction my crazed body made through the foliage. So I walk off in the other direction, hoping my enemies still lie locked in the surreal world of tracker jacker venom. I can't move too quickly. My joints reject any abrupt motions, but I establish the slow hunter's tread I use when tracking game. Within a few minutes, I spot a rabbit and make my first kill with the bow and arrow. It's not my usual clean shot through the eye, but I'll take it. After about an hour, I find a stream, shallow but wide, and more sufficient for my needs. The sun's hot and severe, so while I wait for my water to purify, I strip down to my underclothes and wade into the mild current. I'm filthy from head to toe. I try splashing myself, but eventually just lie down in the water for a few minutes, letting it wash off the soot and blood and skin that has started to peel off my burns. After rinsing out my clothes and hanging them on the bushes to dry, I sit on the bank in the sun for a bit, untangling my hair with my fingers. My appetite returns, and I eat a cracker and a strip of beef. With a handful of moss, I polish the blood from my silver weapons. Refreshed, I treat my burns again, braid back my hair, and knowing the sun will dry them soon enough. Following the stream against its current seems like the smartest course of action. I'm traveling uphill now, which I prefer, with a source of fresh water not only for myself, but possible game. I easily take out a strange bird that must be some form of wild turkey. Anyway, it looks plenty edible to me. By late afternoon, I decide to build a small fire to cook the meat, betting that dusk will help conceal the smoke, and I can quench the fire by nightfall. I clean the game, taking extra care of the bird, but there's nothing alarming about it. Once the feathers are plucked, it's no bigger than a chicken, but it's plump and firm. I just place the first lot over the coals when I hear a twig snap. In one motion, I turn to the sound, bringing the bow and arrow to my shoulder. There's no one there. No one I can see anyway. Then I spot the tip of a child's boot just peeking out from behind the trunk of a tree. My shoulders relax, and I grin. She can move through the woods like a shadow. You have to give her that. How else could she have followed me? The words come out of my mouth before I can stop them. You know, they're not the only ones who can form alliances, I say. For a moment, no response. Then one of Rue's eyes edges around the trunk. You want me for an ally? Why not? You saved me with all of those tracker jackers. You're smart enough to still be alive, and I can't seem to shake you anyway, I say. She blinks at me, trying to decide. You hungry? I can see her swallow hard, her eye flickering to the meat. Come on, I've had 2 kills today. Rue tentatively steps out into the open. I can fix your stings. Can you? I ask. How? She digs in her bag she carries, pulls out a handful of leaves. I'm almost certain they're the ones my mother uses. Where'd you find those? Just around. We all carry them when we work in the orchids. Oh my god, I was like orchids. They left a lot of nests there, says Rue. There are a lot here too. That's right. You're District 11. Agriculture, I say. Oh my god, orchids. Orchards. I see that word and I want to say orchids. Orchards, That must be how you can fly around the trees like you've got wings. Rue smiles. I've landed on one of the few things she'll admit pride in. Well, come on then. Fix me up. I plunk down by the fire and roll up my pant leg to reveal the sting on my knee. To my surprise, Rue places a handful of the leaves into her mouth and begins to chew. My mother would use other methods, but it's not like we have a lot of options. After a minute or so, Rue presses the sloppy green wad of chewed leaves and spit on my knee. Oh. The sound comes out of my mouth before I can stop it. It's as if the leaves are actually leaching the pain right out of the sting. Rue gives a giggle. Lucky you had the sense to pull the stingers out, or you'd be a lot worse. To my neck, to my cheek. I almost beg. Rue stuffs another handful of leaves in her mouth, and soon I'm laughing because the relief is so sweet. I notice a long burn on Rue's forearm. I've got something for that. I set aside my weapons and anoint her arm with the burn medicine. You have good sponsors, she says longingly. Have you gotten anything yet? I ask. She shakes her head. You will though. Watch. The closer we get to the end, the more people will realize how clever you are. I turn the meat over. You weren't joking about wanting me for an ally, she asked. No, I meant it, I say. I can almost hear Hamish groaning as I team up with this wispy child, but I want her. She's a survivor, and I trust her. And why not admit it? She reminds me of Prim. Okay, she says, and holds out her hand. We shake. It's a deal. Of course, this kind of deal can only be temporary, but neither of us mentions that. Rue contributes a big handful of some sort of starchy root to the meal. Roasted over the fire, they have a sharp, sweet taste of parsnip. She recognized the bird too. Some wild thing they called a grousling in her district. She says sometimes a flock will wander into the orchard and they get a decent lunch that day. For a while, all conversation stops as we fill our stomachs. The grousling has delicious meat that's so fatty, the grease drips down your face when you bite into it. Oh, says Rue with a sigh. I've never had a whole leg to myself before. I'll bet she hasn't. I'll bet meat hardly ever comes her way. I'll take the other, I say. Really? She asks. Take whatever you want. Now that I've got a bow and arrow, I can get more. Plus, I've got snares. I can show you how to set them. Rooster looks uncertainly at the leg. Oh, take it, I say, putting the drumstick in her hands. It will only keep a few days anyway. And we've got the whole bird plus the rabbit. Once she's got a hold of it, her appetite wins out and she takes a huge mouthful. I was fighting for my life. I had to cough. I was fighting for my life for a second there. Okay. I'd have thought in District 11 you'd have a bit more to eat than us. You know, since you grow the food. I say. Rue's eyes widen. Oh, no. We're not allowed to eat the crops. They arrest you or something, I ask. Oh, they whip you and make everyone else watch, says Rue. The mayor is very strict about it. I can tell by her expression. A public whipping's a rare thing in well, although occasionally one occurs. Technically, Gail and I could be whipped on a daily basis for poaching in the woods. Well, technically, we could get a whole lot worse. Except all the officials buy our meat. Besides our mayor, Mage's father, doesn't seem to have much taste for such events. Maybe being the least prestigious, poorest, most ridiculed district in the country has its advantages, such as being largely ignored by the capital as long as we produce our coal quotas. Thank you for the thirsty redeeming you. I was actually and factually fighting for my life. You ever have like just a tickle in your throat that just doesn't go away? Like, that was me just now, trying my hardest to get through the book. Even though I know how it ends, I cannot stop thinking about this book. The water's crisp. Okay. Back to it. Do you get all the coal you want? Rue asks. No, I answer. Just whatever we buy and whatever we drag in on our boots. They feed us a bit extra during the harvest so that people can still keep going longer, says Rue. Don't you have to be in school? I ask. Not during the harvest. Thank you, Ina. Everyone works then, says Rue. It's interesting hearing about her life. We have so little communication with anyone outside our district. In fact, I wonder if the game makers are blocking out our conversation because even though the information seems harmless, they don't districts to know about one another. At Rue's suggestion, we lay out all our food to plan ahead. She's seen most of mine, but I add the last couple crackers and beef strips to the pile. She's gathered quite a collection of roots, nuts, greens, and even some berries. I roll an unfamiliar berry in my fingers. You sure this is safe? Oh, yes, we have them back home. I've been eating them for days, she says, popping a handful in her mouth. I tentatively bite into one. It's as good as our blackberries. Taking Rue on as an ally seems like a better choice all the time. Jesus Christ, me in this book. I just can't figure out how to hold it. It's like weirdly heavy. I don't know if it's just because I haven't held a book in a while. No, I've held a book, but it's like I haven't read a book in a really long time. For real, like a real book. So that's not in a PDF format. So I'm like, damn, this book is fucking heavy. What the hell? This book has got fucking weight on it. Shit. I'm like, damn, my fingers are getting so fucking strong reading. Okay. We divide up our food supplies, so in case we're separated, we'll only be set for a few days. Apart from the food, Rue has a small water skin, a homemade slingshot, and an extra pair of socks. She also has a sharp shard of rock she uses as a knife. I know it's not much, she says, as if embarrassed, but I had to get away from the cornucopia fast. You did just right, I say. When I spread out my gear, she gasps a little when she sees those sunglasses. How did you get those? In my pack. They've been useless so far. They don't block the sun. They make it harder to see, I say with a shrug. These aren't for the sun. They're for darkness, she exclaims. Sometimes, when we harvest in the night, they pass out a few pairs to those of us in the highest trees, where the torchlight doesn't reach. One time, this boy Martin, he tried to keep a bear. Hid it in his pants. They killed him on the spot. They killed a boy for taking these, I say. Yes. And everyone knew he was no danger. Martin wasn't right in the head. I mean, he still acted like a 3-year-old. He just wanted the glasses to play with. Hearing this makes me feel like District 12 is some sort of safe haven. Of course, people keel over from starvation all the time, but I can't imagine the peacekeepers murdering a simple-minded child. There's a little girl, one of the Greasy Say's grandkids, who wanders around the hub. She's not quite right, but she's treated as some sort of pet. People toss her scraps and things. I remember being really sus of Rue, especially since she has a high-ass score. I was never sus of Rue because, Katniss explained that Rue could just be up in the trees. She just had amazing agility. So they said it earlier how she probably just impressed the judges by being able to traverse at a high altitude or something, and that's how she got her high score, because she's so tiny. I was like, well, the girl's less than 10, so it's what is she really gonna do? I didn't really think she was gonna do anything, so, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So what do these do? I ask Rue, taking the glasses. They let you see in complete darkness, says Rue. Try them tonight when the sun goes down. I give Rue some matches, and she makes sure I have plenty of leaves in case my stings flare up again. We extinguish our fire and head upstream until it's almost nightfall. Where do you sleep? I ask her. In the trees. She nods. In just your jacket. Rue holds up a pair of extra socks. I have these for my hands. I think of how cold the nights might have been. You can share my sleeping bag if you want. We'll both easily fit. Her face lights up. I can tell this is more than she dared to hope for. We pork high in a dream and settle in for the night just as the anthem begins to play. waiting to tell her about PETA. Taking a cue from me, she does the same. 2, she says. The girls from District 1 and 4 are dead. There's 10 of us left. Something strange happened. At least, I think it did. It might have been the tracker venom making me imagine things. I say, you know the boy from my district, PETA. I think he saved my life, but he was with the careers. He's not with them now, she says. I've spied on their base camp by the lake. They made it back before the collapse from the stingers, but he's not there. Maybe he did save you and had to run. I don't answer. If, in fact, PETA did save me, I'm in his debt again. And this can't be played back. Sorry, I can't. I'm smiling too much. I'm smiling too much. Let me calm down. I know that this book, like, I know the Hunger Games series is not a romance, and yet I'm like, this is one of the best love stories ever. Thank you, Susan Collins. This is like so much like puppkats, coded romance. This is like, and I'll explain it. I should really explain it in the second book because I like drama. I like drama bonds. I like drama bonds. I like no one can understand me but you type relationships where it's like you're the only person in this life that could ever understand me and everybody else doesn't even compare to you. That type of relationship where it is bordering on unhealthy. That's my type of relationship. That's my type of relationship. And the seeds. Let me stop. It just makes me smile. Okay. If he did, it was all probably just part of his act, you know, to make people think he's in love with me. Oh, I didn't think that was an act. Of course it is, I say. He worked it out with our mentor, and the sky goes dark. Let's try out these glasses. I pull out the glasses and slip them on, or I wasn't kidding. I can see everything from the leaves on the trunks to a skunk rolling through the bushes a good 50 feet away. I could kill it from here if I had a mind to. I could kill anyone. I wonder who else could a pair of these, I say. The careers have 2 pairs, but they've got everything down by the lake, and they're so strong. We're strong too, I say, just in a different way. You are. You can shoot. What can I do? She says. You can feed yourself, can they? They don't need to. They have all the supplies, Rue says. Say they didn't. Say the supplies were gone. How long would they last? I mean, it's Hunger Games, right? But Katniss, they're not hungry, says Rue. No, they're not. That's the problem. I agree. And for the first time, I have a plan. A plan that isn't motivated by the need to fight. An evasion. An offensive plan. I think we're gonna have to fix that, Rue. Chapter 16. Rue has decided to trust me wholeheartedly. I know this because as soon as the anthem finishes, she snuggles up against me and falls asleep. Nor do I have any misgivings about her, as I take no particular precautions. If she wanted me dead, all she would have had to do was disappear from that tree without pointing out the tracker nest, needling me. At the very back of my mind is the obvious. Both of us can't win these games, but since the odds are still against either of us surviving, I managed to ignore that thought. That's another reason I'm timing out. That's another reason why I just took Rue at face value. She's just a small girl. Because, like, if she wanted to kill Katniss, she wouldn't have pointed out the tracker nest, so she would have just let her die there. Because to be honest, like, could Katniss have made it out of that situation? Yes, but she probably would have ended up being severely injured. I think she could have gone out of that situation, but I think she would have been severely injured in comparison to what had actually happened. Like, she probably would have lost a limb, to be completely honest. There was no way she was getting out of that fucking tree without some sort of injury with all of the careers at the bottom. There was just no fucking way. Okay. Besides, I'm distracted by my latest idea about the careers and their supplies. Somehow Rue and I must find a way to destroy their food. I'm pretty sure feeding themselves will be a tremendous struggle. Traditionally, the career tribute strategy is to get a hold of all the food early on and work from there. The years when they have not protected it well. 1 year, a pack of hideous reptiles destroyed it. Another, a game maker's flood washed it away. Those are usually the years the tributes from the other districts have won. That the careers have been better fed growing up is actually to their disadvantage because they don't know how to be hungry. Not in the way Rue and I do. But I'm too exhausted to begin any detailed plan tonight. My wound's recovering, my mind's still a bit foggy from the venom, and the warmth of Rue at my side, her head cradled on my shoulder, has given me a sense of security. I realize, for the first time, how very lonely I've been in the arena. How comforting the presence of another human being can be. I give in to my drowsiness, resolving that tomorrow the tables will turn. Tomorrow, it's the careers who will have to watch their back. I foretell it. The boom of the cannon jolts me awake. The sky streaked with lights. The birds already chattering. Rue perches in upon me, her hands cupping something. We wait, listening for more shots, but there aren't any. Who do you think it was? I can't help thinking of Peta. I don't know. It could have been any of the others, says Rue. I guess we'll know tonight. Who's left again? I ask. The boy from District 1, both tributes from 2, the boy from 3, Thresh, and me, and you, and Peta, says Rue. That's 8. Wait, and the boy from 10, the one with the bad leg, he makes 9. There's someone else, but neither of us can remember who it is. I wonder how that last one died, says Rue. No telling, but it's good for us. A death should hold the crowd for a bit. Maybe we'll have time to do something before the game makers decide we've been moving too slowly, I say. What's in your hands? Breakfast, says Rue. She's holding them out, revealing 2 big eggs. What kind are those? I ask. Not sure. There's a marshy area over that way. Some kind of water bird. Water bird. She says. It'd be nice to cook them, but neither of us wants to risk a fire. My guess is the tribute who died today was a victim of the careers, which means they've recovered enough to be back in the games. We each suck out the inside of an egg, eat a rabbit's leg, and some berries. It's a good breakfast anywhere. Ready to do it, I say, pulling on my back. Do what? Says Rue. But by the way she bounces up, you can tell she's ready for whatever I propose. Wow. Today we take out the careers food, I say. Really? How? You can see the glint of excitement in her eyes. In this way, she's exactly the opposite of Brim, for whom adventures are an ordeal. No idea. Come on, we'll figure out a plan while we hunt, I say. We don't get much hunting done though, because I'm too busy getting every scrap of information I can out of Rue about the careers base. She's only been in to spy on them briefly, but she's observant. They must have their camp beside the lake. Their stash supply is about 30 yards away. During the day, they've been leaving another tribute, the boy from 3, to watch over the supplies. The boy from District 3, I ask. He's working with them. Yes, but he stays at the camp full time. He got stung too when they drew the tracker jackers in by the lake, says Rue. I guess they agreed to let him live if he acted as their guard, but he's not very big. What weapons does he have? I ask. Not much that I could see. A spear. He might be able to hold a few of us off with that, but Thresh could kill him easily, says Rue. And the food's just out in the open, I say. She nods. Something's not quite right about that whole setup. I know, but I couldn't tell what exactly, says Rue. Katniss. Even if you could get to the food, how would you get rid of it? Burn it, dump it in the lake, soak it in fuel. I poke Rue in the belly just as I would Brim. Eat it. She giggles. Don't worry. I'll think of something. Destroying things is much easier than making them. For a while, we dig roots, we gather berries and greens. We devise a strategy in hushed voices. And I come to know Rue, the oldest of 6 kids, fiercely protective of her siblings, who she gives her rations to, who forages in the meadows in a district. Thank you so much for the follow, Sora and Nito. Thank you. Very much appreciated. I'm gonna put a heart in your honor on me right now. Thank you. Because I very much appreciate you following. I hope you're having a good day, night, wherever you are. Who forages in the meadows in a district where peacekeepers are far less obliging than ours. Rue, but when you ask her what she loves most in the world, replies of all things, music. I forgot that Rue is the oldest of 6. That is so fucking sad. I hate it here. I really hate it here. I really hate it here. I knew pub streams on the weekends, on the weekdays. I will end stream right now. Cancel the stream. It's time to hear that ending stream music. Music, I say. In our world, I rank music somewhere between hair ribbons and rainbows in terms of usefulness. I love about the weather. You have time for that. We sing at home, at work too. That's why I love your pen. She says, pointing to the mockingjay that I've forgotten about. You have mockingjays? I ask. Oh, yes. I have a few that are my special friends. We sing back and forth for hours. They carry messages for me, she says. I wasn't even supposed to stream today, but I really wanted to continue reading. Did you do to me on June 28th? Memes, I literally don't know why you have a vendetta against me in your calendar. You gotta sort that out between you, God, and Satan. That has really nothing to do with me, alright? Whatever you had planned to do, you need to sort that out because I have nothing to do with it, alright? I was supposed to sleep an hour ago. You can still go to sleep. Nobody's stopping you. Especially not me as I'm reading this book. Alright. What do you mean? I say. I'm usually a bias, so I'm the first to see the flag that signals quitting time. There's a special little song I do, says Rue. She opens her mouth and sings a 4-note run in a sweet, clear voice, and the mockingjays spread it around the orchard. That's how everyone knows to knock off, she continues. They can be dangerous, though, if you get too near their nests, but you can't blame them for that. I'm probably the YouTube bot. Okay, good night, Lewis. Night. The important date is so that memes can argue with me. He put it argue with me in June. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck did I do? I'm usually on vacation in June. June and July, I'm usually like not even streaming, so I don't know why you were arguing with me, or why you wrote that down, but the vacation's coming soon enough. I'm about to lock up this channel. Alright, let me read this. I unclasp the pin and hold it out to her. Here, you take it. It has more meaning for you than me. Oh no, says Rue, closing my fingers back over the pin. I like to see it on you. That's how I decided I could trust you. Besides, I have this. She pulls a necklace woven out of some kind of grass from her shirt. On it hangs a roughly carved wooden star. Or maybe it's a flower. It's a good luck charm. Well, it's worked so far, I say, pinning the mockingjay back on my shirt. Maybe you should just stick with that. By lunch, we have a plan. By early afternoon, we are poised to carry it out. I help Rue collect and place the wood. For the first 2 campfires, the third she'll have time for on her own. We decide to meet after at the site where we ate our first meal together. The stream should help guide me back to it. Before I leave, I make sure Rue's well stocked with food and matches. I even insist you take my sleeping bag in case it's not possible to rendezvous by nightfall. What about you? Won't you be cold? She asks. Not if I pick up another bag down by the lake. I say. You know stealing isn't illegal here, I say with a grin. At the last minute, Rue decides to teach me her mockingjay signal. The one she gives to indicate a day's work is done. It might not work, but if you hear the mockingjay saying it, you'll know I'm okay. Only I can't get back right away. Are there many mockingjays here? I ask. Haven't you seen them? They've got nests everywhere. She says. I have to admit, I haven't noticed. Okay. Then if all goes according to plan, I'll see you for dinner, I say. Unexpectedly, Rue throws her arms around me. I only hesitate for a moment before I hug her back. You be careful, she says to me. You too, I say. I turn and head back to the stream, feeling somehow worried about Rue being killed, about Rue not being killed, and the 2 of us being left for last, about leaving Rue alone, about leaving Prim alone back home. No, Prim has my mother, and Gail, and a baker who has promised she won't go hungry. Rue only has me. Once I reach the stream, oh my god, I got scared. I thought there was a bug. I got really scared for a second. Once I reach the stream, I have only to follow it down the hill to the place I initially picked it up after the tracker attack. I have to be cautious as I move along the water though, because I find my thoughts preoccupied with unanswered questions, most of which concern PETA. This chick is ridiculous. See, I was memeing a little bit when I was like, Katniss is constantly thinking about PETA, but like, no, my memory was right. Like, Katniss is literally constantly thinking about PETA. I was joking. I was making a joke at the start of the book, but I never lie. The cannon that fired early this morning, did that signify his death? If so, how did he die? At the end of a career? And was that in revenge for letting me live? I struggle again to remember that moment over Glimmer's body when he burst through the trees. But just the fact that he was sparkling leads me to doubt everything that happened. I must have been moving very slowly yesterday because I reached a shallow stretch where I took my bath in just a few hours. I stopped to replenish my water and add a layer of mud to my backpack. It seems bent on reverting to orange no matter how many times I cover it. proximity to the careers camp sharpens my senses, and the closer I get to them, the more guarded I am, pausing frequently to listen for unnatural sounds. An arrow already fitted into a string of my bow. I don't see any other tributes, but I do notice some of the things Rue has mentioned. Patches of sweet berries, a bush with the leaves that healed my stings, clusters of dragger-jacker nests in the vicinity of the tree I was trapped in, and here and there, the black and white flash of a mockingjay wing in the branches high above my head. When I reach the tree with the abandoned nest at the foot, I pause a moment to gather my courage. Rue has given specific instructions on how to reach the best spying place near the lake from this point. Remember, I tell myself, you're the hunter now, not them. I get a firmer grasp on my bow and go on. I make it to the cusp Rue told me about, and again, I have to admire her cleverness. It's right at the edge of the wood, but the bushy foliage is so thick down low I can easily observe the career camp without being spotted. Between us lies the flat expanse where the games began. There are 4 tributes: the boy from District 1, Gato, and the girl from District 2, and a scrawny, ashen-skinned boy who must be from District 3. He made almost no impression on me at all during our time in the capital. I can remember almost nothing about him. Not his costume, not his training score, not his interview, even now. As he sits there fiddling with some kind of plastic box, he's easily ignored in the presence of his large and domineering companions. But he must be of some value, or they wouldn't have bothered to let him live. Still, seeing him only adds to my sense of unease over why the careers would possibly leave him as a guard, why him to live at all. All 4 tributes seem to still be recovering from the dragger-jacker attack. Even from here, I can see the large, swollen lumps on their bodies. They must not have had the sense to remove the stingers, or if they did, not knowing about the leaves that healed them. Apparently, whatever medicines they found in the cornucopia have been ineffective. The cornucopia sits in its original positions, but its inside have been picked clean. Most of the supplies held in crates, burlap sacks, and plastic bins are piled neatly in a pyramid in what seems a questionable distance from the camp. Others are sprinkled around the perimeter of the pyramid, almost mimicking the layout of supplies around the cornucopia at the onset of the games. A canopy of netting that, aside from discouraging birds, seems to be useless shelters. The pyramid itself, the whole setup is completely perplexing. The distance, the netting, the presence of the boy from District 3. One thing's for sure, destroying those supplies is not going to be as simple as it looks. Some other factors at play here, and I'd better stay put until I figure out what it is. My guess is the pyramid is booby-trapped in some manner. I think of concealed pits, descending nets, a thread that when broken sends a poisonous dart into your heart. Really, the possibilities are endless. While I'm mulling over my options, I hear Gato shout out. He's pointing up to the woods, far beyond me, and without turning, I know Rue must have set the first campfire. We made sure to gather enough green wood to make the smoke noticeable. The careers begin to arm themselves at once. An argument breaks out. It's loud enough for me to hear that it concerns whether or not the boy from District 3 should stay or accompany them. He's coming. We need him in the woods, and his job's done here anyway. No one can touch those supplies, says Gato. What about Lover Boy? This is the boy from District 1. I keep telling you, forget about him. I know where I cut him. It's a miracle he hasn't bled to death yet. At any rate, he's in no shape to raid us, says Gato. So Peter is out there in the woods, wounded badly, and I'm still in the dark on what motivated him to betray the careers. And I'm still in the dark on what's gonna happen during our 3-minute ad break, except I'm not, that's a lie. We're about to take our 3-minute ad break, so if you're hungry, tired, and or sleepy, please go take care of yourself whatever way resonates for you, and whatever way feels good for you, because you will be hit with 3 minutes of advertisements unless you are, in fact, subscribed to your favorite puppkats. Hi, hello, that's me. Okay. Come on, says Kato. He thrusts his spear into the hands of the boy from District 3, and they head off in the direction of the fire. The last thing I hear as they enter the woods is Kato saying, "When we find her, I'll kill her my own way. No one is." Somehow, I don't think he's talking about Rue. She didn't drop a nest of trackers on. They put for half an hour or so trying to figure out what to do about the supplies. Advantage I have with the bow and arrow is distance, so I can send a flaming arrow into the pyramid easily enough. I'm good enough shot to get it through one of those openings in the net, but there's no guarantee it would catch. More likely it just burned itself out, and then what? I'd have achieved nothing and given them far too much information about myself. That I was here, that I have an accomplice, that I can use a bow and arrow with accuracy. There's no alternative. I'm gonna have to get in closer and see if I can't discover what exactly protects the supplies. In fact, I'm just about to reveal myself when a movement catches my eye. Several hundred yards to my right, I see someone emerge from the woods. For a second, I think it's Rue, but then I recognize Fog's face. She's the one we couldn't remember this morning, creeping out onto the plain. When she decides it's safe, she runs for the pyramid with quick, small steps, just before she reaches the circle of supplies that have been littered about the pyramid. She stops, searches the ground, and carefully places her feet on a spot. Then she begins to approach the pyramid with strange little hops, sometimes landing on one foot, teetering slightly, sometimes risking a few steps. At one point, she launches up in the air over a barrel and lands poised on her tiptoes. But she overshot slightly, and her momentum throws her forward. I hear her give a sharp squeal as her hands hit the ground, but nothing happens. In a moment, she's regained her feet and continues until she's reached the bulk of the supplies. So I'm right about the booby trap, but it's clearly more complex than I had imagined. I was right about the girl too. How wily is she to have discovered this path into the food and be able to replicate it so neatly? She fills her bag, taking a few items from a variety of containers, crackers from a crate, a handful of apples from a burlap sack that hangs suspended from a rope off the side of a bin, but only a handful of each. Not enough to tip them off. The food is missing. Not enough to cause suspicion. And then she's doing her odd little dance, back out of the circle and scampering into the woods again, safe and sound. I realize I'm grinding my teeth in frustration. Fox's face has confirmed what I already guessed. But what sort of trap have they laid that requires such dexterity, has so many trigger points? Why did she squeal so as her hands made contact with the earth? You'd have thought, and it slowly begins to dawn on me, you'd have thought the very ground was going to explode. It's mind, I whisper. That explains everything. The courier's willingness to leave their supplies, Foxface's reaction, the involvement of the boy from District 3, where they have factories, where they make televisions and automobiles and explosives. But where did he get them? Thank you so much for the follow, Anders. Thank you, very much appreciated. I'm gonna put a heart in your honor, because I very much appreciate you following. I hope you're having a good day, night, wherever you are. Okay. I'm gonna put it. I want to put it like right there. That's not gonna fit. Sure, yeah, that sounds about right. Hi, Ander. I hope you're doing well. Okay, where was I? But where did he get them? In the supplies. That's not the sort of weapon the game makers usually provide, given that they like to see the tributes draw blood personally. Shh. I slipped out of the bushes and crossed one of the round metal plates that lifted the tributes into the arena. The ground around it has been dug up and patted back down. The landmines were disabled after 60 seconds. We stood on the plates, but the boy from District 3 must have managed to reactivate them. I've never seen anyone in the games do that. I bet it even came as a shock to the game makers. Well, hooray from the boy from District 3 for putting one over on them. But what am I supposed to do now? Obviously, I can't go strolling into that mess without blowing myself sky high. As for sending it, a burning arrow, it's more laughable than ever. The mines are set off by pressure. It doesn't have to be a lot either. 1 year, a girl dropped her token, a small wooden ball, while she was at her plates, and they literally had to scrape bits of her off the ground. My arm's pretty good. I might be able to chuck some rocks in there and set up what? Maybe one mine that could start a chain reaction. Or could it? Would the boy from District 3 have placed the mines in such a way that a single mine would not disturb the others, thereby protecting the supplies but ensuring the death of the invader? Even if I only blew up one mine, I'd draw the careers back down on me for sure. And anyway, what am I thinking? There's that net, clearly strung to deflect any such attack. Besides, what I'd really need is to throw about 30 rocks in there at once, setting up a big chain reaction, demolishing the whole lot. I glance back up at the woods. The smoke from Rue's second fire is wafting towards the sky. By now, the careers have probably begun. There's a solution to this. I know there is. If I could only focus hard enough. I stare at the pyramid, the bins, the crates, too heavy to topple over with an arrow. Maybe one contains cooking oil, and the burning arrow idea is reviving when I realize I can end up losing all 12 of my arrows and not get a direct hit on an oil bin, since I'd just be guessing. I'm genuinely thinking of trying to recreate Foxface's trip up to the pyramid in hopes of finding a new means of destruction when my eyes light up on the burlap bag of apples. I could sever the rope in one shot. Didn't I do as much in the training center? It's a big bag, but it still might only be good for one explosion. If I could only free the apples themselves. I know what to do. I move into range and give myself 3 arrows to get the job done. I place my feet carefully, block out the rest of the world as I take meticulous aim. The first arrow tears through the side of the bag near the top, leaving a split in the burlap. The second widens it to a gaping hole. I can see the first apple teetering when I let the third arrow go, catching the flap of burlap and ripping it from the bag. For a moment, everything seems frozen in time. Then, the apples spill to the ground, and I'm blown backward into the air. Chapter 17. The impact with the hard-packed earth of the plane knocks the wind out of me Asrid, 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 Asrid. Smoke fills the air, which is not the best remedy for someone trying to regain the ability to breathe. After about a minute, the ground stops vibrating. I roll on my side and allow myself a moment of satisfaction at the sight of the smoldering wreckage that was recently the pyramid. The careers aren't likely to salvage anything of that. I'd better get out of here, I think. Then I'm making a beeline for the place. But once I'm on my feet, I realize escape may not be so simple. I'm dizzy, of the slightly wobbly kind, but the kind that sends the trees swooping around you and causes the earth to move in waves under your feet. I take a few steps and somehow wind up on my hands and knees. I wait a few minutes to let it pass, but it doesn't. Panic begins to set. I can't stay here. Flight is essential, but I can neither walk nor hear. I place a hand to my left ear, the one that was torn toward the blast, and it comes away bloody. Have I gone deaf from the explosion? The idea frightens me. I rely as much on my ears as my eyes saunter, maybe more at times, but I can't let fear show. Absolutely, positively, I am live on every screen in Panam. No blood trails, I tell myself as I manage to pull my hood up over my head, tie a cord under my chin with uncooperative fingers. That should help soak up the blood. I can't walk, but I can crawl. I move forward tentatively. Yes, if I go very slowly, I can crawl. Most of the woods will offer sufficient cover. My own. Give me a second, I'm dying. I don't know why I feel the need to cough at the most inopportune moments of time. I'm like dying tonight. I haven't needed to cough at all day. I've been perfectly fine, and then suddenly, as soon as I start streaming, I'm like, I'm dying. If I don't cough right now, I'll die. My only hope is to make it back to Ruse, Cosp, and conceal myself in greenery. I can't get caught out there on my hands and knees in the open. Not only will I face death, it's sure to be a long and painful one at Kato's hand. The thought of Brim having to watch that keeps me doggedly inching my way toward the hideout. Another blast knocks me flat on my face. A stray mine set off by some collapsing crate. This happens twice more. I'm reminded of those last few kernels that burst when Brim and I popped corn over the fire at home. To say I make it back in the nick of time is an understatement. I have literally just dragged myself into the tangle of bushes at the base of the trees when there's Kato. Barreling into the plain, soon followed by his companions. His rage so extreme, it might be comical. So people really do tear out their hair and beat the ground with their fists. If I didn't know that it was aimed at me, at what I have done to him. Add to that my proximity, my inability to run or defend myself, and in fact, the whole thing has me terrified. I'm glad my hiding place makes it impossible for the camera to get a close shot of me because I am biting at my nails. Like there's no tomorrow, gnawing off the last bit of nail polish, trying to keep my teeth from chattering. The boy from District 3 throws stones into the ruins and must have declared all the mines activated because the careers are approaching the wreckage. Kato has finished the first phase of his tantrum and takes his anger on the smoking remains by kicking open various containers. The other tributes are poking around in the mess, looking for anything to salvage, but there's nothing. The boy from District 3 has done his job too well. This idea must occur to Kato too, because he turns to the boy and appears to be shouting at him. jerks the boy's head to the side. That was quick. The death of the boy from District 3. The other two careers seem to be trying to calm Kato down. I can tell he wants to return to the woods, but they keep pointing at the sky, which puzzles me. Until I realize, of course, they think whoever set off the explosions is dead. They don't know about the arrows and the apples. They assume the booby trap was faulty, that the tribute who blew up the supplies was killed doing it. But if there was a cannon shot, it could have been easily lost in the subsequent explosions. The shattered remains of the thief were moved by the hovercraft. They retired to the far side of the lake to allow the game makers to retrieve the body of the boy from District 3 and wait. I suppose a cannon goes off. A hovercraft appears and takes the dead boy. The sun dips below the horizon. Night falls up in the sky. I see the seal and know the anthem must have begun. A moment of darkness. They show the boy from District 3. They show the boy from District 10 who must have died this morning. And then the seal reappears. So they now know. The bomber survived. In the seal's light, I can see Kato and the girl from District 2 put on their night fishing glasses. Was it goggles? The boy from District 1 ignites a tree branch for a torch, illuminating the grim determination on all of their faces. The careers stride back into the woods to hunt. This shit pissed me off. I just have to pause to say this shit pissed me off so much because, like, the boy from District 3, he did his fucking job. Like, he did his fucking job so fucking well, and he still fucking died. I hate it here. I hate it here. Every single time a child dies, I'm literally like, what the fuck? Even though I know it's literally the Hunger Games, so, like, children are gonna die, but every single time I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, he played his hand so well and they killed him for it. They killed him because the bombs went off too well. This is so upsetting. It's because Kato is a fucking idiot, which I know. Kato's got his own problems, but still, it made me so sad because I was like, he tried his best. Like, he was like, okay, I'm good at bombs. I know how to make them. I know how to, turn them on and off. And I'm gonna work with the careers because they're the strongest, and I'll have access to the food. Like, he made a plan, and they killed him for it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Which further, in my opinion, shows that yes, Katniss, got here right this far because Katniss has been very cunning and smart, but also I think it's really interesting because, like, and I feel like they talk about this at some point in the other books, but, like, Katniss is also somebody who has survived off of, like, kind of luck. I'm not gonna lie, like, it's like Katniss was just a little lucky. Like, Katniss met the right people. Katniss didn't get seen at the right time, right? Like, she met Rue, and Rue helped her. Rue liked her and helped her, and she wore the pin, right? Like, all of these things had to happen in this exact way in order for Katniss to make it this far. And it really has nothing to do with the fact that, like, Katniss had a plan. Obviously the plan helps. Obviously having the plan is, like, added to it, but it's like she is just one person who has happened to make it that far, and, like, everybody else was equally as clever, and she just had that sauce. She just had that sauce that day, which is so sad when you think about, like, life in general, where it's like, how many people do the exact same thing as you? How many people in this life live the exact same life that you live, but never make it as far as you because of the fact that one thing kept them away from it? Like, one thing, like, they didn't get the job because they wore a blue shirt and not a red one, right? Like, because if Katniss never wore the Mockingjay pin, which she was given by Mage as a gift, if she never wore that, then Rue would have never have trusted her, and Rue is, like, such a central piece of, like, this entire thing. So it's like, what if she never wore the pin? because it's like, how many people have been in your footsteps and not made it as far as you because of the one thing? Like, doesn't that just eat you up inside? Like, for some reason that eats me up inside. I don't know, something about that just doesn't feel good. Okay, anyway, back to the story, back to this hopeless story. This is the best ASMR, the best thing to read and put you to bed at night. Alright. The dizziness has subsided, and while my left ear is still deafened, I can hear a ringing in my right, which seems like a good sign. There's no point in leaving behind. Oh my gosh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, fuck. Ah, fuck. Shit. Yeah, yeah, I can see what's happening here. This is really annoying. This is really, really annoying. Yeah. Okay. I'm literally gonna have to turn off the stream. This is so annoying. Oh my god. Let's turn off the alerts. Let's stop that right now. Let's stop that right now. That's like really, I just accidentally started it. That like, where's the thing? This whole thing. I feel like I should do a BRB real quick. I should do a BRB while I deal with this really quick. My god. It's just gonna keep fucking going all day today. Okay. I'm gonna do a quick BRB and see if I can salvage the stream. That was really fucking annoying. So I'm gonna hit everybody with a BRB right now. just happened. That was really annoying, and yeah, that was very annoying for me. So I'm gonna read up to the end of the chapter, and then let me see if I want to continue after that point. We'll just take it as it comes, okay? Let's see. I think it was on page 225. I suppose the cannon goes off. A hovercraft appears and takes the dead boy. The sun dips below the horizon. Night falls. Up in the sky I see a seal, and I know the anthem must have begun. A moment of darkness. They show the boy from District 3. They show the boy from District 10, who must have died this morning. Then the seal reappears, so I know they know. The bomber survived. It's in the seal's light. I can see Kato and the girl from District 2 put on their night vision I said goggles again. Wow. Night vision goggles. Glasses. The boy from District 1 ignites a tree branch for a torch, illuminating the grim determination on all their faces. The couriers stride back into the woods to hunt. The dizziness has subsided, and while my left ear is still deafened, I can hear a ringing in my right, which seems a good sign. There's no point in leaving my hiding place, though. I'm about as safe as I can be. Here, at the crime scene. They probably think the bomber has had 2 or 3 hour lead on them. Still, it's a long time before I risk moving. The first thing I do is take out my own glasses and put them on, which relaxes me a little to have at least one of my hunter senses working. I drink some water and wash the blood from my ear, fearing the smell of meat will draw unwanted predators. Fresh blood is bad enough. I make a good meal out of the greens and roots and berries Rue and I gathered today. Where is my little ally? Did she make it back to the rendezvous point? Is she worried about me? At least the sky has shown we're both alive. I run through the surviving tributes on my fingers. The boy from 1, both from 2, Foxface, both from 11 and 12, just 8 of us. The betting must be getting really hot in the capital. They'll be doing special features on each of us now, probably interviewing our friends and families. It's been a long time since a tribute from 12 made it into the top 8, and now there are 2 of us. Although from what Kato said, Pete is on his way out. Not that Kato is the final word on anything. Didn't he just lose his entire stash of supplies? Let the 74th Hunger Games begin, Kato, I think. Let them begin for real. A cold breeze, I don't know where I got huge from. A cold breeze has sprung up. I reach for my sleeping bag before I remember I left it with Brew. I was supposed to pick up another one, but what with all the mines and all, I forgot. I begin to shiver. Since roosting overnight in a tree isn't sensible anyway, I scoop out a hollow under the bush and cover myself with leaves and pine needles. I'm still freezing. I lay my sheet of plastic over my upper body and position my backpack to block the wind. It's a little better. I begin to have more sympathy for the girl from District 8 that lit the fire that first night. But now it's me who needs to grit my teeth and tough it out until morning. More leaves, more pine needles. I pull my arms inside my jacket and tuck my knees up to my chest. Somehow, I drift off to sleep. When I open my eyes, the world looks slightly fractured. It takes a minute to realize the sun must be well up and the glasses fragmenting my vision. As I sit up and remove them, I hear a laugh somewhere near the lake and freeze. The laugh's distorted, but the fact that it At least the bleeding has stopped. I peer through the bushes, afraid the careers have returned, trapping me here for an indefinite time. No. It's Foxface, standing in the rubble of the pyramid and laughing. She's smarter than the careers, actually finding a few useful items in the ashes, a metal pot, a knife blade. I'm perplexed by her amusement until I realize that with the career stores eliminated, she might actually stand a chance. Just like the rest of us, it crosses my mind to reveal myself and enlist her as a second ally against that pack, but I rule it out. There's something about that sly grin that makes me sure that befriending Foxface would ultimately get me a knife in the back. With that in mind, this might be an excellent time to shoot her. But she's heard something, not me, because her head turns away toward the drop-off, and she sprints for the woods. I wait. No one. Nothing shows. Still, if Foxface thought it was dangerous, maybe it's time for me to get out of here too. Besides, I'm eager to tell Rue about the pyramid. Since I have no idea where the careers are, I root back where the stream seems as good as any. I hurry, loaded bow in one hand, a hunk of cold grusling in the other because I'm famished now, and not just for leaves and berries, but fat and protein in the meat. The trip to the stream is uneventful. Once there, I refill my water and wash, taking particular care with my injured ear. Then I travel uphill, using the stream as a guide. At one point, I find boot prints in the mud along the bank. The careers have been here, but not for a while. The prints are deep, because they were made in soft mud, but now they're nearly dry in the hot sun. I haven't been careful enough about my own tracks, counting on a light tread and the pine needles to conceal my prints. Now I strip off my boots and socks and go barefoot up the bed of the stream. The cool water has an invigorating effect on my body, my spirits. I shoot 2 fish, easy pickings in this slow-moving stream, and go ahead and eat one raw, even though I've just had grusling. The second I'll save for Rue. Gradually, subtly, the ringing in my right ear diminishes until it's gone entirely. I find myself pawing at my left ear periodically, trying to clean away whatever deadens its ability to collect sounds. If there's improvement, it's undetectable. I can't adjust to deafness in the ear. It makes me feel off balance, defenseless to my left, blind even. My head keeps turning to the injured side as my right ear tries to compensate for the wall of nothingness, where yesterday it was a constant flow of information. The more time that passes, the less hopeful I am that this is an injury that will heal. When I reach the site of our first meeting, I feel certain it's been undisturbed. There's no sign of Rue, not on the ground or in the trees. This is odd. By now, she should have returned. It's midday. Undoubtedly, she spent the night in a tree somewhere. What else could she do with no light, and the careers with their night fishing glasses, tromping around the woods, and the third fire she was supposed to set, although I forgot to check it last night, was the farthest thing from her sight of all. She's probably just being cautious about making her way back. I wish she'd hurry, because I don't want to hang around here too long. I want to spend the afternoon traveling to higher ground, hunting as we go, but there's nothing really for me to do but wait. I wash the blood out of my jacket and hair and clean my ever-growing list of wounds. The burns are much better, but I use a bit of medicine on them anyway. The main thing to worry about now is keeping out infection. I go ahead and eat the second fish. It isn't going to last long in this hot sun, but it should be easy enough to spear a few more for Rue, if she would just show up. This will be a fine place to shoot them from. The sun moves slowly. I do things to pass time. Chew leaves and apply them to my stings that are deflated but still tender. Comb through my damp hair with my fingers and braid it. Lace my boots back up. Check over my bow and remaining 9 arrows. Test my left ear repeatedly for signs of life by rustling a leaf near it, but without good results. Despite the gristling and the fish, my stomach is growling. And I know I'm gonna have what we call a hollow day back in District 12. That's a day where no matter what you put in your belly, it's never enough. Having nothing to do but sit in a tree makes it worse, so I decided to give in to it. After all, I've lost a lot of weight into the arena. I need some extra calories, and having the bow and arrow makes me far more confident about my future prospects. I slowly peel and eat a handful of nuts. My last crocker. My last cracker. The gristling neck. That's good because it takes time to pick clean. Finally, a gristling wing, and the bird is history. But it's a hollow day, and even with all that, I start daydreaming about food, particularly the decadent dishes served in the capital. The chicken in the creamy orange sauce, the cakes and pudding, bread with butter, noodles and green sauce, the lamb and dried plum in stew. I suck on a few mint leaves and tell myself to get over it. Mint is good, because we drink mint more often, so it tricks my stomach into thinking eating time is over. Sort of. Dangling up in that warming me a mouthful of mint, my bow and arrows at hand. This is the most relaxed I have been since If only Rue would show up, and we could clear out. As the shadows grow, so does my restlessness. By late afternoon, I've resolved to go looking for her. I can at least visit the spot where she set the third fire and see if there are any clues to her whereabouts. Before I go, I scatter a few mint leaves around our old campfire. Since we gathered these some distance away, Rue will understand I've been there. And while they mean nothing to the careers, in less than an hour, I'm at the place where we agreed to have the third fire, and I know something has gone amiss. The wood has been neatly arranged, expertly interdispersed with tinder, but it has never been lit. Rue set up the fire, but it never made it back here. Somewhere between the second column of smoke I spied before I blew up the supplies. At this point, she ran into trouble. I have to remind myself she's alive. Where is she? Could the cannon shot announcing her death come in the wee hours of the morning, or even my good ear was too broken to pick it up? Will she appear in the sky tonight? No, I refuse to believe it. There could be 100 other explanations. She could have lost her way, run into a pack of predators, or another tribute like Thresh. I had to hide. Whatever happened, and I had to hide. Oh my god. Whatever happened, I'm almost certain she's stuck out there somewhere between the second fire and the unlit one at my feet. Something is keeping her up in a tree. I think I'll go hunt it down. It's a relief to be doing something after sitting around all afternoon. I creep silently through the shadows, letting them conceal me, but nothing seems suspicious. There's no sign of any kind of struggle, no disruption of the needles on the ground. I'm stopped for just a moment when I hear it. I have to cock my head around the side just to be sure, but there it is again. Rue's poor no tune coming out of a Mockingjay's mouth. The one that means she's alright. I grin and move in the direction of her body. Of the bird. Oh my god, where'd the body come from? Of the bird. Another just short distance ahead. Picks up on the handful of notes. Rue's been singing to them, and recently, otherwise, they've taken up some other song. My eyes lift up into the tree, searching for a sign of her. I swallow and sing back softly, hoping she'll know it's safe to join me. A mockingjay repeats the melody to me, and that's when I hear it scream. A child scream. A young girl scream. There's no one in the arena capable of making that sound except Rue. And now I'm running, knowing this may be a trap, knowing the 3 careers may be poised to attack me, but I can't help myself. There's another high-pitched cry, this time my name. Katniss. Katniss. Ro. I shout back, so she knows I'm near. So they know I'm near. And hopefully, the girl who has attacked them with tracker jackers and gotten 11, they still can't explain, will be enough to pull their attention away from her. Rue, I'm coming. When I break into the clearing, she's on the ground, hopelessly entangled in a net. She just has time to reach her hand through the mesh and say my name before the spear enters her body. Chapter 18. And I think, honestly, I'm gonna pause. Actually, am I gonna pause? I don't know when the next ad break is. I should probably know that. I have no idea if the next ad break or not. When the next ad break is, I think I'll probably take a pause there. I honestly think I could finish the rest of this. Well, maybe not the rest. Well, maybe the rest of this book, because it's really not that much left in the book as far as I'm aware. Let me check. It's really not that much left in the book. As far as I'm aware right now. I think I'm good. Let's see. Okay. I kind of want to wait until I'm like debating whether or not I should end stream, but then I'm gonna restart stream anyway because I kind of just want to keep reading and like I just want to finish it out. So I'm like, should I pause and then like come back after a little bit, or should I just take a pause after the break? I have no idea. Debating. I think I'm gonna stop stream right now. And then I'm gonna come back. I think that's just the easiest way to go about it. Just stop stream and then just come right back after I've like done a clean sweep. Hopefully, question mark. We should be good after that. I'm like debating. I'm like, should I stop stream or wait for the break and then do a clean sweep? I have no idea. I don't know how close we are to a break. We're at a good stopping point. That's a good stopping point right there. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. Going through it tonight. Mac, I'm already one step ahead of you. I'm already one step ahead of you on that one. So, going through it. Yeah. I didn't. Yeah. No, Mac. I already know what it is. I don't need you to tell me. I know what it is. Yeah. So I'm gonna end stream. I'm not gonna raid anybody because I'm literally going to be back in like as soon as I'm done in like maybe 15 minutes. So I'm not gonna raid anybody. I'm just gonna end stream and then I'm gonna come right back and I'm just gonna start on screen again. Which is unfortunate for anybody who's lurking who might be like, oh,